bans primary school teachers from enrolling students or children in private schools. The Ondo State government says it has become an offence for any teacher in its public school to enroll their children in private schools. The rule was handed down by Victor Olabinton, the chairman of the State Universal Basic Education Board, according to a statement by BC Agbola, the board's spokesperson. The SUBEB chairman condemned in strong terms the attitude of some teachers taking their biological children to private schools and ruled it has become offensive for any public school teacher to take their wards to private schools, Mr. Agbola said in the statement. Ondo has over 100 public primary schools scattered across the 18 local government areas of the state. Many of the schools are in deplorable conditions and lacking basic amenities. Speaking with the head teachers of the primary schools, Mr. Olabinton frowned at the drop in pupil enrollment across the state. You're frowning at it, but you've also admitted that many of the schools are in deplorable conditions. Who are they talking to, please? The audacity. He said the government was worried about over the rate of student dropout despite its huge investment in primary education across the state. If there were huge investments, we would not be able to say that the schools have been in deplorable conditions. Now, we're not talking about the intangible results of grades and all that. No, we're talking about even the structure. Who would want to send their child to schools where the windows are non-existent, where there are wooden chairs that are not up to standards, the boards are not there, and really what you even need to ask is, okay, fine, if these individuals or if these teachers teaching in public schools, how are they able to afford private schools? I mean, of course, private schools would have different degrees of, fees, but really, we can't, let's be fair, we're not going to say that teachers in public schools are earning, a substantial amount to send their kids to private schools. But then it's sad because it sort of puts, I see where they're coming from, because the teacher is put in a moral dilemma, to be honest, because you are teaching, students that really, are not getting the best of the best, but you're sending your kids to where you believe they're going to get the best. But then you can also say, you know what, these teachers could have also gone to teach in private schools as well and even earn more, or even have a discount by even sending their kids to those private schools they could be teaching in. So really, let's stop, with the blame, because it's like the government is not trying to take responsibility for the fact that you can't blame the teachers. In fact, the fact that they're still teaching in deplorable conditions is very bad, and it's the same thing for other, sectors in the country, even with health as well. Yes, it is sad, but a lot of nurses, the moral dilemma of, okay, fine, you're a nurse. You're probably, you're trained and you're not being treated well. Your salaries are not good enough. Hospitals are not in the best of conditions, and you're still expected to practice. It doesn't make sense. But then, some nurses have left and some nurses have stayed. The same thing in education. Some teachers have left and some teachers have stayed. So I really don't understand. So it really is the audacity for you to tell teachers that you're probably not paying well how to spend their money. And if they're going to spend their money sending their kids to private school, then that's what they do. It is not their fault that, public schools are not in the best of conditions to be able to teach the future generations, and you're saying, you're disappointed at the rate of dropouts. Excuse me. And this continues even to university level. Till university level, look at ASU strikes. And let us be honest, a lot of politicians do own these private universities that will not go on strike. And in fact, hire lecturers from public universities into their private universities. So why would these people discuss with competition? Because really, everything being privatized all comes down to competition. And not that, they don't want competition, but they just don't want competition at all. Not that they're trying to reduce entrance into a sector, the increased privatization of public goods. Really, to be honest, the provision of public goods, when you have them privatized, it's screaming corruption. So really, this is a problem that needs to be fixed, because it continues even up till, tertiary education, and we're complaining about primary schools. So let's really be aware of what we're saying here. And it's very funny. I find it very funny, to be honest. So really, yes, they can have incentives for teachers, and that's a whole different thing. Again, the teachers are already skilled, they are already equipped. Well, those that are actually teachers, not those that are actually looking for a job because there's lack because there's a lack of vacancies or in the sector. But the fact is, with those that are actually skilled teachers, you don't need, pay them good salaries, listen to them if they need to improve the curriculum, actually decide what we want to teach our students, not what the white man has taught you to teach them. So that's a whole different conversation we're not going to get into. And also the environment as well. Why you think that if all these parents of these kids had a choice, you think private school would be it? You have first world countries. Yes, there are, the elitists of their society that will send their kids to top schools. But really, a lot of public schools, everyone goes there because it's not of a bad standard. It's not. Anyone can go there. You don't know who's rich and who's poor. Obviously, there are different ways for you to, handle things like that. In America, they don't wear school uniforms. But in the UK, everyone wears school uniforms. You have lawyers, doctors sending their children to public schools. And it's already at a good standard that it can accommodate for the general public. So if you even want to go to a private school, you're not spending any chicken change. You're going to be spending. So it shouldn't be a thing where private schools are now so privatized that you would have, because again, it's prices, right? You cannot compare what a school of 50k would be given, and it's very extreme, but that a 50k a term would be given a student that is having or going to school in 500k per term. Again, when it comes to the intangibles and values and results, yes, it can be different. I'm not saying that a 50k school wouldn't be good. But what I'm saying is, if you want to send your kids to private school, you should be ready to spend money. But when it comes to providing education to the masses, it shouldn't be something where an individual have to think of wanting to save. No. Even when it comes to tertiary education, countries give out loans. Because it's not about now. It's not about, it's not about now or what they need to buy now. It's about building their labor. Because really, the loans they're giving for these individuals to then enter the market, of course, they're going to graduate. They're going to have to gain experience. So for them to be working at a productivity level that really adds up to the aggregate national productivity level when it comes to their labor, of course, it's going to take years to build. But that is the investment for you to give out loans. That is the essence. So really, the government should stop avoiding, being held accountable and actually invest. Because these investments, they're saying, if you're investing, there's literally, we can see, you can't tell me that you're investing in a school and there are no windows. Come on. Put what you think in the comment section below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.